Lastly, we're going to hear from Chelsea Jocelyn, and I encourage all of you to hang on. I know that we're running a little bit late on time, and I apologize for that, but I'm going to really encourage you to stay on and listen to what Chelsea has to share. Chelsea is the Communications Director for the YMCA of Northwest North Carolina, where she shares the Y story in communities across 7 counties representing 14 branches and YMCA campaigns. She's responsible for media relations, writes newsletters, and other communication pieces, and she leads Living Our Cause for the association. Chelsea is one of our trainer champions for Living Our Cause and an awesome trainer champion. She actually just spoke at Expo, so some of you on the line may have actually heard her sharing some work about Living Our Cause at Expo in Anaheim. But what Chelsea is really going to get into today is really about storytelling and how we can do that in an informal way that really celebrates how our staff is living our cause. So Chelsea, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks so much. So to give you guys a little bit of background, our Y was a trendsetter Y. So we have been working at Living Our Cause for a while. We've seen it evolve, and we've tried a lot of different things. And one thing that we try to do really well at our Y is to be very aware of bright spots. And when we see that something's working well, to take that and see if we can replicate it across the different communities that we serve. So one of the areas that we have seen some great success that I want to share today is in celebrating our staff on social media. And we are on several social media networks, but for the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to be talking solely about Facebook and how we reach out to our communities on Facebook. So a while back, we started asking ourselves, when you look at our Facebook pages for the branches, for our YMCAs, are those pages showing the personalities of our Y? Are they lifting up the communities that we serve? Or are we using Facebook solely as a way to push out information? Sports are canceled today. Sign up now for this program. We know as a best practice in marketing that when we're using social media to its full potential, we want it to be the online representation of the community that we're building in real life every day at our Y. Think about how you use Facebook. You don't go on Facebook to see the ads. You go to connect with people that you have relationships with, to see photos and to hear updates that are important to them. We knew that we could be getting more out of our Facebook pages when we treated them the same way, as a way to connect and to show a glimpse of what's happening at the Y when people can't be at their particular branch. So that was our goal, to lift up community that's happening in real life. So you think about, what is the community at your Y? Well, it's definitely your members, it's your events and your programs, and then it's your staff. They're a big part of that too. And we all know that relationships are one of the most important parts of the work that we do at the Y. So when we started looking at this of a way to celebrate staff on social media, we knew that we would be more successful if we celebrated those people who already have strong relationships in the branches. That's going to make everything else you do more successful if you select those people who do have the strongest relationships, and it also recognizes the right people who are a really important part of the fabric of your YMCA. So when you think about starting to get started with this, a great way is through the Living Our Cause nuggets. So right now we're doing the Why I Give nugget, which works great, but we saw a lot of success last year when we did another nugget that was supporting the nationwide campaign. On the next slide, you'll see that you may remember that we had a nugget to share how staff help make the Y so much more. So we did that kind of the normal way you would roll out nuggets and meetings and that kind of thing. And then we decided to share some of the best responses, not all of them, but some of the best, on our branches' Facebook pages. And we didn't quite know what to expect when we put it up there, but the results we saw were really great. This example in front of you is from our Stokes YMCA, and this is Kay, who's a personal trainer. She works at the membership desk, so she knows a lot of people, and she's been at that branch for a really long time and has built really substantial relationships with the members they serve. So you see here that we saw incredible comments, tons of likes, tons of people, members, saying how much Kay means to them. So we tried it at one branch, and we thought, okay, this is a bright spot. Let's see if it works when we go to other branches. So on the next slide, you see that it did. This is another community, the Kernersville. If you're not familiar with North Carolina, these are about 30 to 45 minutes away from each other, so totally different communities they serve, but we're part of the same association. And this time we picked a part-time staff member. This is Heidi with some of the kids that she's helping watch over in Child Watch. And we posted her response to that nugget, how she helps make the Y so much more. And again, you see the same response. Oh, we love Heidi. I never worry about my kids when they're in Child Watch because Heidi's there. all these incredible comments that members are making. And then I've pointed out here where this man, Danny, identifies himself as Heidi's brother, and he says, "Thank you for sharing that picture. It meant so much to Heidi." And that's when we realized that this is about more than likes and comments. This has this dual effect of making the staff who work at the Y feel really good about the work that they do, and they should. They're obviously having a huge impact. So then, if you go to the next slide, I want to show you one more example of how we kind of took this and rolled it out beyond that particular nugget. The Kernersville Y we saw earlier, they did they did an employee spotlight. So this was posted maybe one time a week at most, definitely not more than a couple of times a month. It's only a small part of our Facebook content, so it's not like we're going and bragging about ourselves all the time, but maybe once a week we're aiming to have an employee spotlight. So here we're profiling Angela, who's a very popular group exercise instructor with our active older adults, and we saw, again, the same thing. Angela sharing just what it meant to her to work at the Y and a little bit of her personal story. And then you see this amazing recognition for her. She's the reason I've succeeded at the Y. All of these comments of people weighing in, saying how much she means. So it's awesome that we're seeing this type of engagement, but then it's really great for Angela, too, to have a very tangible example of how she's helping people. She knows that, but it can't hurt to see it again. And I just want to point out, too, that, we like to think that we're social media rock stars, but this is a lot more comments and engagement than we get on a sports is canceled tonight because of the rain post. So we started to see that this was really working, that our Facebook fans wanted to see this kind of stuff, and how could we do more of it? So on the next slide, I wanted to talk to you just for a minute about something else we're doing. The first examples I showed, those are all of our branch Facebook pages that our members see. We've also created a Facebook page, kind of like what YUSA does on a much smaller scale for our staff and volunteers. So like a lot of you, I'm sure, we're spread out across several counties. We have a lot of different branches, and we have a Living Our Cause team that represents each branch. But we wanted a way to reach our part-time people and other directors who maybe aren't part of that team but would still get Living Our Cause inspiration. So we use this page in our association as kind of a hub to give staff shout-outs and to lift out some of the Living Our Cause work that we're doing and to highlight what we really like, because we know from Living Our Cause that our culture is created by what we celebrate and remind people of, so we wanted a place to do that. I just want to point out that if you decide to do something like this at your branch, it's public. Anyone could find this page. You could go find it now, and you would see everything that we've posted. So we don't put anything that's very internal or that has to be private. Anyone can find this page. It just wouldn't make a lot of sense to them if it wasn't, if they weren't part of the Y and knew about this Living Our Cause stuff and knew the people here. And I can see on the kind of the back-end insights of our page that we're pretty much keeping it local, that it's a lot of the people that we want to be reaching. So that's kind of another idea to share with you that you think about celebrating staff. So on the last slide, I just want to wrap up that you saw in these examples that we saw great results when we did this. And there were two main buckets. It was staff seeing firsthand that they are very appreciated for the work they do. And we found that it was particularly meaningful for those part-time staff who may not really realize the impact that they make. So Heidi, who we showed earlier, was part-time last year when that photo was taken, has since become a full-time staff member. She is more engaged. I'm not going to say it's that Facebook post that did it, but I think it's indicative of the kind of employee that Heidi is and the fact that she deserves that kind of recognition. She deserves that special emphasis on the page. The second way that we've seen huge results is through those likes and comments, which we call, engagement on social media. So any of you who are in marketing, you already know this, but just so everybody's aware, that engagement on your branch's Facebook page is so important because that determines how high up you show up in someone's news feed. Facebook has a whole algorithm for deciding what they're going to show to people, and the more engagement that you have, the more that you're going to show up higher. So this little graph that you see at the bottom, that was a 1-month snapshot from last year of one of the branches, and the smaller parts of the graph, that's where you see just kind of our normal run-of-the-mill Facebook posts, and then those huge spikes are from when we shared those staff stories. So It really works. I hope that you'll try it. And I would just tell you that if you start doing some of this stuff, that it's all about experimenting and seeing what works with your Facebook audience and what they like, and then taking what works and replicating it and finding those bright spots and making them happen. Thank you so much for having me. I hope you get some good ideas out of it.